If we could just shut up for a moment, I think Vegapunk has something to say. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host, Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to One Piece, episode 1148. Yeah, I was at Youmacon this past weekend, had a blast with that, but we are getting back to our normal everyday schedule starting this week. And so that means we are having One Piece and Adventure Time on Monday, and so on and so forth. But you can see I'm wearing a Youmacon shirt here. I know you can't read the text on that except for maybe Phoenix, but I have a plush I got at Youmacon of I guess one of Youmacon's various mascots. Um and yeah, I had a good time. And I'm not in blah, blah, blah. I'm not in as much pain as I usually am after a Youmacon. I'm usually in a lot more pain. I think it's because I was kind of weirdly a little out of it this weekend, and I don't entirely know why. But I was. There were points in the weekend where I was just kind of not doing too much. And I don't know if I'm just getting older or if it was something else. I don't know, but it was it was different. I mean, most of the con experience was the same. Most of it was just as fun and just as, you know, exciting as ever. But it was just internally different. And don't worry, no worries. I'm fine. I'm able to still keep going. I'm able to record easily. I feel fine physically. It's just I don't know. Something was I had I guess the best way to put it is I felt like I had a fog in my head during the weekend. Um, but that shouldn't affect anything going forward. So we'll be good. No worries there. All of that being said, though, we are going to get into this and see what we have in store. But we left off on a pretty pivotal moment because Vegapunk has started to reveal the truth of the world, and his first big announcement is something we kind of already knew about, that the world is sinking into the sea. He didn't give any specific details yet, but we kind of already knew that because that had been presented to us through Water 7 already. It's not really big information. It's not really this big reveal to those of us who have been watching the series. If you just jumped in with this arc for whatever reason, I don't know why you would, but if you did, then yeah, that would be a surprise to you because you wouldn't have had the context of previous arcs to tell you what was going down. But yeah, it's the only other thing I could imagine is you would have forgotten, which is possible. Some people don't watch the series over and over again. They might have only seen those episodes once and quite a long time ago. So if that's the case, that's fine. It's I've seen Water 7 and Enies Lobby excuse me. Ooh. Over 10 times. And I know that's not the most common, but I've seen it multiple times on my own. I've seen it with my sister. I've seen it with multiple reactions. So it's just one of those cases where I've seen that information presented to me quite a lot. And even recently, too. Because Omni Media, he's reacting to One Piece, and he's currently in Enies Lobby. So I had just heard that through Water 7 and Enies Lobby with his reactions, too. So, yeah. Talking about Aqua Laguna and everything. It's not that big of a surprise, but it is interesting that it's a big enough deal to scare the Gorosei, which means that they and or Emu are probably behind it. So I'm very curious to find out more about this and what other big reveals we have in store with this. Because it's, even though he said it was kind of jumping to the end, we know that's not it. We know that's not the only big reveal we're going to get here. This is too important to just reveal something that's literally already been revealed. Even like within the context of, oh, this is being revealed to the world, many of whom wouldn't know about that in world, in universe, but still. There's got to be more. So yeah, I'm excited to get into this and see more. But the last thing I want to talk about before we get this going is Toei just recently made a big announcement. And it's one I'm not a fan of. There are some people who like it, and everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I'm also entitled to my opinion, and I'm entitled to even disagree with others' views on it. And you're allowed to disagree with mine. I'm just going to say that. But Toei announced that after Egghead ends at the end of this year, there is going to be a 4-month break until April. The next arc, the Elbaf arc, will begin in April. And from that point forward, there will only be 2 cores of One Piece a year. 26 episodes, which will, based on the fact that it's starting in April, I assume it's going to be the spring and the fall seasons. So that way there's going to be an entire season between each core. But they're limiting, they're turning it into a seasonal anime. They're turning One Piece into a seasonal anime, and they're limiting it to 2 cores, 2 13-episode cores a year from here on out. And this irritates me for a number of reasons. Because I liked that One Piece was an ongoing thing and not, like, seasonal. It made it feel, you know, bigger and more special, and, like, you know, for the most popular series in the world in terms of, you know, anime and manga, it made it, like, live up to that reputation. Turning it into a seasonal anime is, yeah, it's going to allow for better animation and whatnot, sure. More consistently, at least. Because we've had amazing animation since Wano. But it's also going to make it feel like an everyday, ordinary series. It's gonna take away a lot of that wow factor, and it's gonna make it feel less exciting. On top of that, they've said that they're going to try to have the pacing match the manga more, which is a massive mistake. I don't give a shit if I'm in the minority here. I cannot see, like, the other side to this argument being right. You're allowed to have your opinions and everything, of course, but I can't see it. The pacing that so many of the fans want, in my opinion, is garbage. The pacing that One Piece has had all of these years, over 2 decades, is what makes this series so good. The pacing is so important to the quality of the series. It sells the adventure and the tone and the just overall feeling of the show. And this is why I've been outspoken against the remake that they're going to be doing. And it's like, if they're already doing a fucking remake, why does Toei have to do this too? And I know Toei is, independently of this remake, choosing to do this. But it's like, this is a bad decision on every level. Not to mention, this is just going to make it take so much longer for the series to end. It's going to be another 20 years at least before the actual anime ends. Oda will probably be dead by that point. Because it's like, it's still going to have a shit ton of episodes. Because the manga for all of these arcs lately are going to still be exceptionally long. The chapters are still going to be many. You know what I mean. That was a weird way of wording that, but it's not going to actually shorten it that much. Not enough to like make it end in any significantly shorter amount of time. And again, it contradicts itself. It's like, oh, we're gonna make it like go more in line with the manga's pacing. It's like that's not gonna make it end sooner because you're limiting the amount of episodes that come out a year. Doing both is just gonna make it take longer to finish. The only way to actually like make it like finish sooner would be to do one or the other. You can't do both. And the thing is, you can't even do one or the other. It literally only has to be the manga pacing. If you just tried to do the 2 cours a year, then that would still just take longer. But if you tried to do the manga pacing at the regular release state that it's in, then that would make it go a little quicker, but only a little. And I've heard people like try to like say like, "Oh, you're all complaining about this, but this year didn't have many more episodes than 26 in the first week." Yeah, that's because like the first few months of this year there were no episodes because it was already on a 6-month hiatus. And then they've taken more consistent breaks. That's not a gotcha. You're just kind of like proving the point in a way. Like, they already cut down on the episodes this year because of that 6-month break they took, because of taking extra breaks every few episodes. Honestly, I would rather have the animation of the like first few arcs of this series back in the East Blue. I would rather have that than have this shit pacing schedule they're going to be working through. I don't give a shit that the animation is like looks like movie quality constantly. I don't care. I would rather have this presented in a way that, you know, presents it well. I'm more worried about how this pacing structure is going to fuck up the story. Like, I mean, the general story will still be fine, will still be good. But, again, the pacing helped it. I've read the manga up to the end of Alabasta. I never went past that. But the pacing of the manga is so fucking fast. It rushes everything. And it makes it feel like so it makes it feel so off. And that's why that's one of the reasons why I couldn't continue reading the manga. Why I never got past Alabasta. And why I became anime only. Again, one of the reasons, but a big one. And it's just... sorry for the rant. It's just, this is like really big news right now regarding One Piece, and I have to talk about it. So obviously with this channel and everything, we're going to continue reacting to it as it comes out. So once Egghead ends at the end of this year, we're going to obviously have to take a break along with this. We don't have a choice. But then when it comes back, it's one of those shows that obviously will be a priority show. And it'll like, even if I have to drop something else that I'm reacting to at the time in April, I will get back to this. I'm just really hoping they don't fuck this up and ruin the series, because One Piece, I've said multiple times, is the anime specifically is my favorite piece of media of all time. And I just really don't want that ruined for me. And again, you're allowed to have a differing opinion. I'm allowed to have mine. We're allowed to disagree on our views on this. I'm not gonna like force you to agree to or believe in mine, and I don't expect you to do the same for me. But people have tried to explain to me, people have tried to like express their beliefs on this to me, and it just isn't gonna work. I am very, very steadfast in my steadfast. Probably again the wrong word. I apologize. You know what I mean. I'm very strong in my belief on this. It's not budging. Um, but at least we do have the live action to look forward to in March. I wish it was earlier, in especially with this break with the anime. It's like, oh, we're getting back to live action only a month before the anime. Why not have the live action come out in like January or February? Then at least we fill that gap with something. But no, we only get like a month, and it's like, yay. So we just have no One Piece for multiple months, and it's just like, this really could have been just handled better. Things could have just, I don't know. Either way, let's just get to this episode and hope for the best. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So while not something I necessarily originally thought about, the idea that Joyboy, this character who we've been hearing about pretty much since we entered the new world, this character who's been probably one of the biggest enigmas of the series, Joyboy being the first ever pirate within this world, within the history, it makes a lot of sense. It's something I've never considered, something I never really thought about, like to any deep degree, but it is something that absolutely tracks. And now we're kind of getting confirmation, or at least semi-confirmation, that this giant robot that we know assailed Marie Joie in the past and is currently like seeking out Joyboy, from what we can tell. We gather that it was part of Joyboy's crew, or you know, what we would in the current day refer to as a crew, because I don't know if they like really had the terms for that back at that point, because I guess we technically don't know if Joyboy was referred to as a pirate during his lifetime, or if that was like a posthumous title. I don't think like Vegapunk specified that. It's just that Joyboy was the first person to ever be referred to as a pirate. But if we count, if this robot is counted amongst it, if Zunisha's counted amongst the crew, it's like that could be insane. Like just what this crew was. The fact that we know that Joyboy had these powers, which implies that Joyboy had, you know, the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika, and was from a super advanced civilization that is like far more advanced than anything Vegapunk has even come up with at this point. The world, I can't wait till we see what the world was like back then. I'm kind of expecting something like real life modern day, like big cities and stuff, maybe even like, well, actually more than likely well past that. Like, think of like the very standard, stereotypical, futuristic, like cities you see in a lot of like sci-fi and whatnot. Think of something like that. That's kind of what I'm expecting, like that highly advanced. And I'm very curious to see that within the scope of this series, because Obviously, with One Piece, we've never seen anything like that, like not even close. The closest we've gotten is Egghead and Vegapunk, but even that's not that close comparative. um, so we still have the Gorosei in this, like really panicking, trying to shut off the broadcast. But like I've said before, they're not going to find it here. Vegapunk's not that dumb. He's not going to have that like anywhere on Egghead. This is going to be set up so that no one would be able to stop the broadcast, and so everything's going to get revealed here. So it's interesting that the first big reveal he starts with is like he's like, oh, let's jump to the end first, and he starts with the world is sinking, which is obviously big information within the world. But like I said, for us as viewers, it's something we kind of already knew about. And it even flashes over to Water 7 here, where we see them even acknowledging it's like, oh yeah, if you just like told us it was just Water 7, it's like we'd understand that because we know this has been happening. But the entire world, it's like, I guess it's something they didn't think was necessarily happening everywhere, but we kind of already understood the idea there as viewers. But it's like, obviously, that's going to be a big reveal for the in-universe world. But the reveals are going to get bigger for us as viewers. So, like, going from that to Joyboy being the first pirate and everything, and being from the Void Century, all of this information is much bigger to us as viewers, but wouldn't probably be as big to the world in general. Like, the world is probably going to be thinking more of like, oh, well, this Joyboy stuff is pretty interesting, sure, but how does that affect us? And it might even, like, cause them to, like, turn against the government to some degree. There's going to definitely be a lot of rebellion after this. But people are going to definitely be more focused on the world sinking, you know? Like, I feel like that's a bigger deal to a lot of people because that's going to more directly affect them. But again, you have the contrast between what's big for the people of this world, for like in universe, and what's big for us as fans in terms of reveals and news and information. I like that we're getting to check in on all these places, even just random ass characters like Foxy and Damalo Black. It's like, what the fuck? Why? Why are we checking in on them? Like, some of these I can at least get some understanding to. Like Mayor Boodle and Shushu, it's like, sure, why not? It's like, we haven't seen anything from them in a long ass time. That's cool to check in with them on. But like, who gives a shit about Foxy and Damalo Black? Like, why do we care to check in on them? That is so silly. And why is Damalo Black and his crew pretending to be the kid pirates now? Like, what the fuck? Like, the guy who was the fake Sanji, I think his name is Drip, he just painted his face to look like Killer's mask, and it's like, oh my god, you're so stupid. Like, he wasn't even wearing a fake mask. The guy who pretended to be Soge King, like, he even wore a fake mask when he was pretending to be Soge King. They couldn't make a fake Killer mask? Really? It's just so dumb. It's so dumb. But yeah, it's like, most of this episode was just about these reveals and everything. Seeing, you know, the Gorosei get more and more panicked to the point where they're not even, like, at least Saturn wasn't going after the Straw Hats anymore. But the other big thing to talk about is Edison is using the last of, you know, his life and everything he has to be able to help forge that way out. He's extending the island clouds to give them a path to the sea. Luffy is still trying to escape with Dorian Broggy, but Warcury is giving chase still. He's actually still focused, but to be fair, I think Luffy is a pretty high priority for them over just the other Straw Hats. So that tracks. And we only saw like the tiniest bit of what was going on with Nustro and Bonnie in this episode. We only saw like a tiny glimpse at it. And it was like for like a split second, and then it just didn't go back to that again this episode. But yeah, we're getting the big information right now, and since we know this arc is ending at the end of this year, and we know that Elbaf is going to start in April once it comes back from its break, we are in the big climax. We are getting to the end of this, which we already figured. I mean, we're getting all this info. We're having the battle with the Gorosei. It's like, yeah, this is obviously the end of the arc. So it's still just a matter of how are we going to escape, though. If the giant robot was an ally of Joyboy, it'll probably align itself with us, right? It'll most likely align itself with Luffy specifically and help escape. I have to assume. I don't know exactly what this robot can do. We know it can tank like pretty much any hits from what we've seen. But I'm very curious to see what it can do and how it's going to help us escape. Because I have to assume at this point it's going to. Obviously, we still have the giants helping. I'm just like so excited to see more at this point. There's so much going on, and it's all so exciting. The information, the action, everything is just like at its peak right now. And I'm very excited to see how this arc ends up closing out and how we do actually escape from the Gorosei. Because again, even if they get to the sea, it's like Mars can fucking fly. And you think the other Gorosei are going to really be worried about things too? You think they're not going to be like able to stop you from sailing away? It's like we've got to do more than just get to the sea. So I guess we'll have to, well, see. We'll have to find out. But yeah, tell me your thoughts down in the comments below. Obviously, no spoilers for the future. Like I always say, I do know some things going forward, but they're so sporadic and they're without context. So just to be safe, no spoilers. Plus, you don't want to spoil anyone else in the comments too. So yeah, just no spoilers, and just let me know what you thought of this episode. So thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.